Chieftain here. Every year I tend to do an article highlighting veterans who work for Wargaming on Veterans Day. We realize it's a Remembrance Day in a lot of the rest of the world, but well, we're in the US. This year though, we're going to do it a little different. Instead of an article, we thought we'll put it on video and let them introduce themselves.
I'm HAZLIP. I served in the United States Army Reserve for 6 years as a combat medic. I think when I was in, it was called a 68 Whiskey. I served in Iraq for 1 year with a combination of Kuwait. My combat mission was be the medic for a platoon of crazy combat engineers.
Hello, I'm PURSEL. I fixed Apaches in the Army for 6 years.
My name is Marvin Chow. I served with the United States Marine Corps between 1991 to 1997. I was a legal assistant with the 3rd Marine Air Wing. Semper Fi and Hoorah, and Happy Veterans Day.
Hello, I'm CLANEY and I served for 6 years as military intelligence in the Army.
Hello there, my name is Marcus. I served in German military for 12 years as an infantry sergeant. I wish you guys a happy Veterans Day, good luck and have fun with family and friends out there. Be safe.
And myself, Nicholas Moran. You all know me. I'm a tanker, cavalryman, US Army. I have the rank of Major, 16 years so far, 2 tours, one Iraq, one Afghanistan. Oh, and by the way, I started off in the Irish Military Reserves back in '97. Ended up as a 3-star trooper, which sounds impressive, but actually ends up being a private first class. Now we're going to segue on a bit. If you recall back a ways, we did a video called War Has No Nation, and we brought in a couple of old veterans. Well, a chap by the name of Tom Sator was the American entrant. He was in the 7th Armored, served under General Patton, and his service record basically started in France and ended up in Czechoslovakia. Over the course of the filming, he had me in stitches for quite a while, and we didn't use a large portion of it in the video. So I thought today would be as good a day as any to bring it forth, and you can have a listen to his stories yourself. Okay, so firstly, who are you? Where do you came from?
Well, my name is Tom Sator. I was born in Budapest, Hungary, and I came to the United States on the 12th to San Francisco on the 12th of May, 1939.
So, under what circumstances did you join the Army? Were you drafted? Did you volunteer?
No, but I had to register at the draft board. But I wasn't a citizen. And in 1941, when the Japanese invaded Pearl Harbor, the Germans and the Hungarians declared war on the United States. So I immediately became not only an illegal resident, but also an enemy illegal resident. And I tried to join the Army because the immigration department wanted to deport me. But there was a very kindly immigration agent, and he kept postponing my file. Finally, he said, I don't know how long I can keep this up. Why don't you join the Army? I said, I tried, but they said, they have no jurisdiction over me because I'm an illegal enemy resident. But he finally knew somebody at the Presidio, and I went up and there was a captain. He said, will you be willing to renounce your Hungarian citizenship? So I asked him, where do I sign? He said, okay, come back tomorrow.
Okay, so you joined the Army, you went to basic training and tank school. Where?
Fort Knox, Kentucky.
What was tank school like?
Well, I tell you the truth, tank school was a little different because mostly they taught me geometry and how to maintain an engine. And they showed us where the tracks were on a tank, and where the turret was, where the gun was. But beyond that, very little.
So what duties did you have in the tank? What positions were you?
Oh, well, I was basically a loader. I was a loader, basically. That was but I did some bow gunning and some driving.
What was your route across France to Czechoslovakia? Where did you go when you war?
Well, you know, I was in England in a rear echelon unit, and after the Battle of Eracourt, they needed replacement. So I basically was a replacement. They sent me to Chateau Salins and through Paris, a replacement depot, and they assigned me to the 4th Armored Division. I had nothing to do with it, you know. I was a private soldier. I wound up in Company B, 37th Tank Battalion. And from then on, we went to Alsace, to Singling, from Singling up to Bastogne, to Belgium, to Luxembourg, and then into Germany, across the Rhine, and across Germany all the way to Chemnitz, from Chemnitz to Bayreuth, to Czechoslovakia, and that's where the war ended.
What was your first impression of the Sherman tank?
Well, when you first see a big tank like that, you're really, I mean, it's formidable. And it's big, and you try to get in, and they teach you how to get on it. And you learn very quickly, because when the chips are down, you got to get in and get out very quickly.
Did you feel powerful and invulnerable in the tank? Or?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, there's no feeling like it. You sit in the turret, and it starts rolling to a village, and you're sitting up there, and you're looking it down to everybody, and you feel like you're a conqueror. The trouble comes in when somebody starts shooting at you, and then the whole thing changes very quickly.
In hindsight, did your opinion of the Sherman tank change? Do you still think it was a great tank, or?
I still think it was of course it was a great tank. Listen, what was wrong with it? It was the 75 gun was too small, there's no doubt about it. The gun sight was inadequate. Sherman was a very reliable. We had one tank in the outfit that they said came all the way from Normandy to Czechoslovakia. Can you beat such a thing? So, to me, look, we didn't know any better, let me put it to you this way. But the fact was that you were inside and you were protected from artillery and small arms fire, and that was a big thing. It was a very big thing. To me, the Sherman was a good tank. It was fast, it moved fast, it was reliable, and hey, it protected us.
Your tank, what was your relationship with your tank? Was it like your home, or was it just a piece of equipment?
I was very fond of my tank because it protected me from small arms fire, from artillery, and I was much happier inside than out, I'll be honest with you.
How did you make your coffee?
Oh, well, at first, each tank was equipped with a Coleman stove, which was, high. And when you lit it, it took off in a big flame, which was, so I don't know, I think it was in the Alsace, someplace, I think in Mittelschan. We ran across a tank, and the tank had a German field stove. And this was it was flat, and it was easy to light, and burned with a blue flame. It was a beautiful piece of equipment, so I stole it. And we had that, I had that. Everybody wanted it, of course, but I had it and I sat on it.
Did you have any traditions or superstitions in the tank?
Well, there was an old GI superstition, never light 3 people on a match, That was, you never shake hands crosswise. That's the standard. You never light three guys on a match.
I haven't heard that one.
Huh?
I didn't hear that one.
No, that was, because we all smoked, everybody smoked, but you never light 3 guys on a match. 2 is maximum.
Today it's like we can't have apricots. You're not allowed to have an apricot on a tank today.
Apricot?
Apricot. No apricots on tanks.
Why?
Because they're bad luck.
You're kidding.
No, this started with the Marines in 1944. And I guess somebody figured out that all the Sherman tanks that were destroyed had apricots. And they probably had other things as well, but they focused on the apricots. And ever since then, apricots have been bad luck.
I guarantee you, I never saw an apricot in my tank. No. The only thing I saw is K-rations.
Can you give me a best memory and a worst memory of being in the tank?
The worst memory?
The best memory and the worst memory.
Well, the best memory is riding through Germany and going through towns with the white sheets hanging out the window and sitting on top of the tank, and you know, you feel like you feel like very powerful. So, you know, hey, you're a conqueror. I lived through this, and I'm here, and I'm sitting on top of a tank, and boy, the rest of the world is nothing. You're really something, believe me. That was an unbelievable experience. If you never had that experience, you haven't lived. I want to tell you something. The worst experience was, of course, when we got hit with a bazooka. And that was, I thought I was dead, you know.
Did an enemy tank ever shoot at you? Or did an enemy tank ever shoot at you?
Oh yeah, Bigonville was the, we knocked out, actually it was a Sherman, with German markings. It belonged to the 9th Armored Division. And the Germans must have captured it, and they used it against us. They put a German marking on it, and that thing came over the hill and knocked down a tree. We all saw it at once. And Joe put in 5 shots in the turret. And I loaded 5 shots in there. Sergeant Grady's tank was to my left, and after the section was over, he came over. He said, "I thought you guys were shooting the 50." Yeah, imagine that. I never moved so fast in my life. But Joe put 5 shots into that turret. You could put a newspaper over it.
Okay, so you said you worked for Abrams. What was Abrams like to work for?
Well, you know, I was very lucky because I first met him in Mittelstein. Abrams had a habit of coming down to see every company personally, especially before an action. He'd come down and talk to the guys and tell us what we're going to do and why. The first time in Mittelstein, we trooped around him, and he says, "Well," he says, we have a new arrival. And tomorrow we're going on a small road march. And we're going to show the gentlemen how we earn our living. And this small road march turned out to be Singling. And Singling was a real brutal battle. But anyway, I liked him because he's very good to me. He did things for me. He helped me get back to Budapest. And I admired him. He was very brave, bravest man I ever met. He always sat on top of his tank, the turret, with his legs dangling down and a mic in his hand, directing everybody where to go, what to do. And he always, as far as I know, he never got wounded. But my God, I wouldn't have done what he did for $10 million. I still think it was extremely lucky that I met a man like that. He truly was a great man.
How did you discover the war was over? How did you find out?
Well, it was, I think, the afternoon of the 7th of May. And we're sitting in a tank in a small town called Horazdovice. And all of a sudden, all stations to one, announcement, or something like that. And believe it or not, Churchill's voice came over the radio, announcing that the Germans signed a surrender agreement, that the ceasefire and the war is over in Europe.
So what was your first thought?
Thank God, I'm alive. Of course, let's have a drink. Let's have a drink. Everybody got out of that tank, the infantry jumped up, and everybody started firing in the air.
It's one of the things that I presume the same. I'm so happy from the experiences that the Army gave me, but I never want to do them again.
Listen, I wouldn't do it over if you paid me $10 million, but I wouldn't give it up. no matter, I would change it for nothing.
We'll be hearing more from Tom again at a future point. So from those of us here at Wargaming America, to the veterans, we salute you. And to those of you who commemorate Remembrance Day, we remember them also.